we have understood the causes of learning disability. We have also understood that what are the different areas that affect a child's learning capacity. So, the next step would be to be able to diagnose LD, that is learning disability. This is a very important area, and one must keep in mind that the diagnosis or identification of learning disability is done for teachers and for other professionals, so that we can help the child, but it is not meant for labeling the child, because once you label the child that he is dyslexic or he is dysgraphic, that label is going to be stuck with him and he is going to develop some kind of inferiority complex in future. So, now we are going to see the diagnostic measures. How do we identify a child who has learning disability? When we talk about reading, writing, spelling and mathematics, we also must realize that this is not in isolation. The learning disability happens in this particular manner. It could be speaking, listening, attention, reading, writing, number work, all these are overlapping with each other. To give you a simple example, when we say this, the child is good in doing mathematical calculations, but on the other hand he has a severe reading disability. So, if he is not able to read well, do you think he will be able to do those statement sums well? So, that is why we say that a learning disability does not happen in isolation. There are overlaps and there are combinations. One way to diagnose the learning disability is to understand the perceptual problems. What are these perceptual problems and how do we identify it and how do we help this child? I have a sample to show you. This is written by a child who was 7 years and another child who was 8 years old. As he wrote this particular paragraph, the red hen sat on a big box. The hen was wet and the box was hot. The hen was happy. Now, when you look at this particular sample, you will realize that he has made so many mistakes, and these mistakes are mostly the perceptual mistakes, because as I spoke to you about B and D, where B is written as D. Now, here in this particular sample, you will see in the last line the word happy. Now, look at the way he has written, that P is reversed and looks like a Q. Similarly, the word was, again this child is going by the sound. It has a O sound, so he has written WOS. So, these are the perceptual problems. Similarly, in the next sample you will see, it says Tom had a pot. Tom sat the pot on a box. The pot, the box got hot, Tom got mad at the pot. Now, again you will see there are only 3-letter words, and a child who is in class 8 should be able to write very well. But here you will see the reversals. Mad, instead of D he has written B, box is written as docs, again B and D confusion. So, these are the issues which need to be identified, which help in the diagnosis of this particular disability. We are also going to see now the symptoms or the indicators for a child who is in pre-primary, and also later on we will see the symptoms and the indicators for children who are in primary schools and secondary schools. The child has difficulty in learning nursery rhymes, is restless, fidgety, cannot sit in one place. We call him hyperactive. Has a history of delayed speech. This child has learned to speak late, say at the age of 2.5, 3 or 4 years. Likes to listen to stories but shows no interest in letters or words. Cannot follow more than one instruction. You know, it is so very easy to understand this. This is also an indicator the child may have learning disability. We give instructions. For one thing, we give, say, 3 instructions at a time. We tell the child, go to the staff room, take out the English reader from my locker and bring it back to the class. Now, how many instructions have we given? 4. So, the child goes to the staff room and he stands there and he wonders, what did the teacher ask me to do? So, this is a sure indication that he may have a learning disability. Has difficulty in the fine motor activities. We talked about gross motor and fine motor when it comes to coloring and cutting, pasting. Has difficulty dressing, tying shoelaces. Has difficulty learning names and days of a week. Now, this is a sure giveaway. It's very common to see children come to the teacher and say, teacher, today is my happy birthday and I have brought a chocolate for you. And when you ask him, what is the date today? What month is it? He doesn't know. These are children, when you ask them to say the names of the week, the days of the week, they are not able to say it in a sequence. Similarly, when it is the months of the year, they are not able to do so. Here we have symptoms, indicators of children who are in primary schools. Poor decoding abilities, spelling trouble, trouble following instructions. Again, we have seen that when the teacher gives instructions, there are 2-3 instructions at the same time, the child will have tremendous difficulty in understanding. Slow recall of facts. He has understood the topic, whatever the teacher has taught, he has understood, and that information is stored somewhere in the brain. But when it in his memory, but when it comes to recall, he is not able to do so. So, this particular difficulty where the child, when he sits for the examination and he has studied for weeks to appear for this particular exam, and he looks at the question and he says, yes, I know the answer, but unfortunately he is not able to retrieve it from his memory. Slow acquisitions of new skills. He finds it very difficult to acquire new skills. Organizational problems, impulsivity, instability, distractibility. These are children who are affected by the problems of attention, and because they are so distracted, they are not able to learn. Unstable pencil grip, trouble with letter formation. We talked about dysgraphia, where we said that the letter formation is poor because the grip, again we come back to the fine motor activities, the grip on the writing tool, the pencil or the pen, is not proper. As a result, the formation of letters is not correct. Trouble learning time. They have difficulty in reading the time. When tell them to look at the clock and say the time, the child is not able to do so even though he has learnt it in the class. It was very funny, one child who was not able to say the time, when I asked him, he told me, why do I have to learn it in this manner? I have a digital watch and I can look at my watch and tell you the time. So, why do you insist that I have to learn to read the time the way you are teaching? This is something that we need to think about. Poor grasp of math concepts. The math concepts are very difficult for them, And also, when we were talking about the perceptual problem, this child makes a mistake with a division sign and subtraction sign. He has difficulty in understanding the plus sign and the multiplication sign. So, as a result, when he is doing sums, the answers are not correct. So, after knowing the types and also understanding the ways of diagnosing learning disabilities, what is the answer? Are we going to let these children be the way they are and then not learn the way they are being taught in the classroom? They come under tremendous mental strain and stress, both from school, the teachers and parents at home. So, do we just leave them like this? Do we just let them drop out of school, or do we give them some kind of help? So, I would like to tell you that if there are children who are identified as having learning disability, they can be helped, and that help comes in the form of remedial education. You know, when you have a common cold, you go to the chemist shop and you say, I have a cold and give me something. So, he gives you a cough syrup. The cough syrup is the remedy to your cough. Similarly, if the child is having difficulty with reading, writing, mathematics and spelling, we give them a remedy, and that is in the form of remedial teaching or remedial education. Look at this particular example. This was again a child who was 8 or 9 years old. He used to write in this manner: the cat hit the pig in the rib. Look at the mistakes, the I and E, he is not able to write correctly. The capital letters are so big, and when you look at the passage, it looks very untidy because of the usage of small and capital letters and no punctuation. This child was given remedial education for 6 months, and look at the passage that he has written. It looks so neat and tidy, though there are 2 mistakes, the capital B and L in the middle of a sentence, but on the whole he has been able to learn better. So, this is the power of remedial education. After identifying the problem, it is the teacher, the remedial teacher or any teacher who is wanting to help these children can help. Another area of concern is the identification of problems with vision. In this slide, you will see that there are different postures. As a teacher, we come across children who sit differently. So, if we are alert, we will be able to identify a child who may have a problem with his vision. In the first picture, you see that the child has kept his head at an angle. So, virtually the child is really making use of one eye. So, this is a child probably who has different power in both the eyes, but he does not know because he has never known what is normal vision. So, he has acquired a compensatory position. With the bridge of his nose, he is cutting off the vision in one eye and he is reading only with one, so that he is able to read. So, this is an abnormal posture. So, if you come across a posture like this, you can ask the parents to get his eyesight checked. Similarly, in the other picture where the child is writing, again you will see that his head is resting on his forearm. So, he is actually cutting the vision in one eye with his forearm and using one eye. In the third one, again it is the position of the paper and the way he is bending his head, he is again writing or seeing with one eye. And sometimes some children, they find it easy to read when they keep the book in a standing position. When they have to write, then it's a different story altogether. Similarly, if you find a child who, when you are talking, he is not paying attention to you, but when you start writing, he is quickly copying. So that will show you that maybe this child has some impairment with his hearing. So get his hearing tested. That will be wonderful. The moment hearing is tested, the moment sight is tested, those issues are taken care of, most of the problems are solved. I had done one research with one ophthalmologist where out of every 10 children who came to me because they were underachievers, they were not doing well in studies, when I tested them, I found that 3 had a simple problem of sight problem which could be corrected with the glasses, and but they went through their school life being underachievers and being laughed at. When we were talking about the different talents that children with dyslexia have, this is one slide that will show you that these famous personalities, they were very poor in academics. They went through school life with great difficulty. There are some who just did not complete their schooling, and there are some who had, with some help, they were able to do so. So here is the slide. We have Albert Einstein. Everybody knows about him. He was very poor in studies. Then we have Thomas Edison, and you see how creative these people were. We have Walt Disney. Walt Disney's pictures and cartoons are world famous. So almost all children have seen those cartoons and they love them. And this man had learning disability, but he was very creative. And at home, we have Abhishek Bachchan, who is a very successful film actor, but when it came to his school, he was a very, very poor student. And same goes for Mahesh Bhatt. So the idea of showing this particular visual to you is for you to understand that academics is a small part of our lives. It is not the life. So if a child is having difficulty in classroom learning, do find out the reason and help, and also find what different talents he has. What are the other talents he has that can be given importance, so that when you are successful in one area, that success will spill over into the area where he is not good at. Many times, children who are intelligent, who are smart, they do everything just as well as their classmates do, except for reading, writing, spelling and mathematics, the classroom learning skills. And many times teachers tell them, you are slow, you are a slow learner, or you are just good for nothing. But are these children really slow at learning? Are they, sometimes they are called stupid, you have no brains, you have no sense. So is it really so? Are these children are bad because they are not able to learn the way a teacher is teaching? So let us see what abilities these children do have. They have talent in many other areas. Now I go back to the film Tare Zameen Par. This child had difficulty with reading, but he has exceptional talent when it came to painting. But nobody really cared about his ability of painting, because in our education system, we need to perform at the classroom level, and also parents feel that it is most important to just go to school and learn, and the other talents, be it sport, painting, singing, dancing, all these things are not given any importance. These children are imaginative and creative. What they imagine is a little better or quite a lot better than another child of his age. They are very creative. They can think of things which are not seen by other children. You may have come across a child who keeps asking same question again and again till he is satisfied with the answer you have given. Now, curiosity, one example comes to my mind. We have an exhibition coming to Hyderabad every year, and here we see the kind of toys that you don't get in the shops. All of us are familiar with paper spectacles. These are made with paper, with a colored paper to look through, green, blue, yellow. So there was this 7 or 8-year-old child who was standing at a shop with his mother. The mother was bargaining with the shopkeeper, and the child was taking one spectacle, one after the other, putting it on and looking up at the sky. And then he put away the spectacle and then he looked up at the sky. Then he asked his mother, he pulled at his her pallu and said, "Ma, when I look through the green, I see everything green. When I look through the blue, everything is blue, and so is it with red and yellow. But when I look at the sky through my eyes, I see all colors. Why do I not see brown? Because my eyes are brown." So this is the level of curiosity a child has. And the mother, instead of giving him a proper answer, she told him, "Come on, keep quiet. You're always asking these kind of impossible questions." So I'm sure that child probably never asked his mother another question. They are good at lateral thinking. Now, what is lateral thinking? There are two types of thinking: linear thinking, which is a very obvious and ordinary kind of thinking that all of us know. And there is another type of thinking which is known as lateral thinking or out of the box thinking. To give you an example, when I showed a brick to some students of mine, everybody said that it is used for building houses. Now, this is linear thinking. Very obvious that bricks are used for making a house. Some said that it is used as a paperweight. If you color it up or you decorate it, it can be used as a decorative piece or as a paperweight. Another example I can give you, which is at a little higher level. There was a soap making factory. They received a complaint from their dealers that some people had come back to them and said that some boxes are empty. There is no soap in it. So there was a very big discussion. There was a high level meeting because it was to do with the image of the company. After the meeting, when they came out, the floor in charge walked up to the MD of the company and he said, "Sir, will you give me 2 minutes to explain that how we can solve this particular problem?" So MD said, "Yes, you go ahead." He said, when the soap is made, it comes down a slide and gets wrapped in a paper. Then it comes down another slide and it goes into the box, and that box falls into the carton which is kept at the bottom of the slide. This man said, when the soap which is wrapped in paper is going into the box, at that stage, if we keep a fan at high speed, then if the box is empty, it will fly away. If it is not empty, then it will fall into the carton. So this is known as lateral thinking, out of the box thinking. Instead of going through a whole procedure of how are we going to rectify this problem, this was a simple problem which could be taken place at the factory floor level itself. They have superior spatial skills. Now, what is a spatial skill? In our day-to-day life, we look at different objects and we see their relationship to each other and to ourselves. To make it more clear to you, if a child is sitting and stringing beads, he is holding a thread and he is holding a bead in his hand. So he has to see the relationship of bead to the thread and bead and thread to himself. So this is spatial ability. The children who do not have this ability, they have difficulty in saying what is in front of them, what is before them, what is behind them, what is to their left side and to the right side. But children with learning disabilities who may not be able to do well in school, but have tremendous spatial skills, and these are the ones who are able to see the abstract patterns, who are very good in numerology. They are also very good when they are talking about astrology and the the stars and their relationship to each other. They can be very hardworking and motivating. These are children who may have been not good at school level, but they motivate others to learn well, or they come up with things that nobody thought that he could do it. We have an example of Steve Jobs, who is the creator of Apple. He was a school dropout. He didn't do well at school, but he had a talent and he created something which we all are benefiting from. This is a child's prayer. You know, friends, when we go into the classroom to teach, we feel that this is a particular way that I have learned to the methodology of teaching, and this is how I am going to teach. But I never take into consideration the different styles or different way a child is going to learn. So here a child says, if I cannot learn the way you teach, can you teach me the way I can learn? And if all of us together, the teachers, the parents, the school, the society, if we all work